welcome back to another episode of Spiritual Superpowers. I'm Dawn, and for those of you who are new to the channel, my best friend Karen and I started this back in 2020 to help people gain some insight into the different metaphysical and spiritual topics. So sadly, Karen passed away at the end of September 2023. I was not planning on continuing with the channel. I just didn't feel right without Karen by my side, but with all the communication I've been getting from her, it seems like there are a few episodes coming your way, starting with this episode on how Karen has communicated with a lot of us from the other side. So we did an episode back in 2020 on how spirit communicates with us, and we had Marianne on the show to kind of explain the different types of communication, and I'll include a link to that up above and below in the description box. So if you'd like to go back and watch that video, there's a lot of information on the different ways that your loved ones might try and communicate with you from the other side. But in today's episode, we're going to focus on Karen and all the magic that she is creating. I have with me today Karen's twin sister Jill and her husband Barrie, and they're going to share some of the stories of how Karen is reaching out to them to let them know that she is with them and that she's doing well. And I'll start us off with one of the stories that I have about Karen. Now, it seems like Karen and I have been communicating mostly through my dreams, and I'm very lucky. I think I'm a lucid dreamer. I'm often well aware that I'm dreaming, and I remember my dreams. And the first dream that I had about Karen was so vivid. Her and I were standing in a line, a long line of women. We were waiting to get somewhere, and I was very excited that she was there. And I was saying, Karen, this is amazing. Tell me, what is it like on the other side? Like, what was it like to transition? What is it like over there? Tell me everything. And she did. She went into such detail. And what was really neat was that while we're standing in line with these women, you know, I don't know how long. It's like standing at Canada's Wonderland. Like, it felt like a never-ending line. And it was almost like women were just kind of standing around talking with their girlfriends, just like I think any of us do when we're standing in line with friends. Now, I knew that Karen had passed. In my dream, I was well aware of that. And in my dream, I'm well aware that people can't see her, that I'm talking to, almost like I'm talking to a ghost, but I'm talking to her spirit. And I didn't care. I was full out looking like I was talking to myself and well aware of how crazy I probably looked to the women in front of me and behind me in line. But I just wanted to hear from Karen, and I listened, and she explained everything. Oddly enough, when I woke up, I remember the entire dream except for what she told me. And I've heard of this before, where there are some things that we're just not meant to know or remember. I mean, we do know. We all have our inner knowing, and because of the way the universe is connected, we all have the information. It's just whether or not it's in our cognitive mind. So it's definitely in my subconscious, just haven't been able to bring it back up to the conscious level. And I think I was not supposed to remember. I think that's kind of what the whole point of our conversation was. She got to share everything with me. I remember being so excited, so intrigued. But sadly, when I woke up, that part, I don't remember. So let's go over and watch the video clips that I have of Jill and Barrie. And I will see you back here afterwards for another story. Okay, so this is Jill, and she's going to be sharing some of the stories that of Karen communicating with you from the other side.
Yes.
And let's start with the earliest one.
Okay.
All right. Quickly, how soon after was it?
It was about 5 days after.
Amazing. Yeah.
So about 5 days after was my husband and my wedding anniversary. Mm-hmm. And of course, you know, we weren't going to celebrate or do anything. And on our anniversary, and other special days, you know, Caron would send e-cards, and it would always be in our inbox first thing in the morning. So my husband got up first, and, you know, he was sad because he didn't get that normal e-card for our anniversary in the inbox. And of course, Caron was an animal lover, as we all know. So it was always an animal doing something funny or silly. You know, all the cards were always like that. So he was missing the card. And later that day, he told me he saw chickadees jump in our bird bath that is just outside our window. And it was in front of a trail cam I had. So we had video of this chickadee jumping in the bath and playing around. And I said, "Oh, Tim, that is Caron's e-card for our anniversary." And it was like, on our anniversary, I have never seen a chickadee jump in our bird bath. Right. Other birds, yes, never a chickadee. And on our anniversary, the chickadee had quite a fun bath. Yeah. So that was Caron's e-card.
Yay. Yay. And that's the thing, was that it's a bird that never does it.
That's right.
And you're an avid bird watcher. So
yes, I've had this bird bath for years. And the chickadees come and drink all the time, never go in the bath.
Yay. Oh, that's so nice of Caron to do that.
Yeah.
And there's more bird stories.
There is. I can't remember how long after. It was only about 2 weeks after. And, you know, I get lots of birds at the window because I feed them. And also, Caron had told me a couple years ago that my spirit animal was an owl. So I love seeing owls, but so rarely see them. Rare. And if I do, they're when we're walking in the woods. And so one night, Tim and I were feeling, my husband Tim, particularly having a sad night. And then Tim said, "Oh, look." And on our deck chair, just outside our window, there was an owl perched there. It was just getting dark, and it was sitting there. And we went, "Oh my goodness, you know, the owl, we've never ever seen an owl." So we both scrambled to get cameras and first our cell phones. And so the picture wasn't very good, but it sat there just looking at us. Let us go get actual good cameras and take all sorts of pictures of it. It wasn't phased the least bit. I'm sure Caron was just saying, "Just sit still, it's okay." But I know that was from Caron.
Oh, for sure. I have only ever seen an owl once, and I was actually driving and asked the universe a question, and owl is one of my spirit animals as well, and it flew right and swooped down right in front of my car, and that was the only time. But I took it as a sign from the universe, and that was definitely a sign from Caron.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that was amazing. I wish I could have seen that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll show pictures.
Yeah, we have a picture. I have a picture. I took pictures. So that was wonderful. And it really lifted our spirits at a time we really needed it.
Yeah, and that's one thing that it sounds like of course, every day's not easy, but those really difficult times is when she really kind of shows up.
Yes.
Reassures us that she's okay and that she's still with us.
Yes.
Yeah, and tries to put a smile on our face with whatever she presents us with. Yeah. And one of the signs from the universe that's quite common is a hawk.
Right.
And you actually also have a story from
a hawk. This is my husband's story, actually. And, you know, my husband loved Caron dearly, too, so he was feeling it, too. But one morning he decided to go get us breakfast from a Tim Hortons that's not too far away. And he just turned out of our subdivision. We live in kind of a rural area. And he saw parked on just in a little parking lot outside the subdivision, this car. And the window was wide open.
And it's wintertime right now.
It is wintertime, and it was wintertime. I think this happened in October as well, the month after Caron passed. And so this hawk was circling around above this car, and he's going, "Well, that's kind of odd." And the window of the car was open, and then this hawk swooped down, perched on the edge of the window of the car, and then jumped in. and Caron's spirit animal is a hawk. So, you know, obviously for many reasons has caught his attention. So anyway, he's continuing up the road to go to Tim Hortons, and he's going, I think I just imagined that, like that doesn't seem normal. And then he stopped at the intersection at a red light, and the car pulls up beside him, and sitting on the driver's lap, staring right at Tim, is this hawk saying, yes, I am real. You did see this. This is a sign from Caron. Like, you know, it was just so bizarre.
That is really, really bizarre. And that is like, I don't think anyone else has that story. Because that is like so random.
Yeah.
But to think that she must have, even if the guy is into falconry or something like that, to have him guided to be right at the entrance to your community,
right,
and then to also time the lights for him to drive up next to Tim at the lights, and the bird to be staring him in the eyes.
It was just, you know, all these things were just not normal occurrences.
Right. And
you knew they were from Caron.
Right. And she's actually, as everyone's going to hear from Barrie too, she's constructed a lot of really complex
and right away
that's the thing, like, because I think she was so spiritually advanced and enlightened, when she got over to the other side, she was able to, I think, integrate and adjust quite quickly to be able to let us know that she's okay, but then have a lot of fun with it too.
Yes, absolutely, and lift our spirits.
Like that hawk story. Insane. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing them with me.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I really appreciate it, and I know that our audience has been wondering, and I'm sure that these stories are putting a big smile on their face too.
Yeah, and let everyone know that Caron's doing well on the other side.
She is. Yeah. And I'm excited to hear more stories, so we're going to have Barrie come and join us.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dawn.
So much.
Yes.
Okay. So everyone, this is Barrie Shepley, Caron's husband, and just like Jill, Barrie's had some amazing forms of communication from Caron, and he's such a great storyteller, so I'm so excited for everyone to hear this. So
pressure's on. The pressure's on. First of all, I'm not sure that you and I and Jill, you know, three of Caron's most favorite people in the world, have actually been alone together since she's passed. You know, we've been at functions, obviously, but I think there's always lots of other people there. So to just get the three of us together is very sacred. Yeah.
And I know that she's here, and I know that she's so happy that we're all together right now. Yeah. Who knows? You might. Maybe we can get you to do some effects.
An orb, maybe.
How about an orb?
That would on demand.
That's signature move right there.
Pressure. That's pressure.
All right, so why don't you tell us some of the stories, and did you want to, I'll let you pick what order, or if you want to.
Yeah, so first of all, because of the exposure from, you know, Marianne and yourself and Caron over the last 5 or 6 years, I went from being, I would say, not a non-believer, but I just kind of observed at a distance, and occasionally I'd ask a question, and I would just see more and more amazing things that just went beyond just luck. You know, at first I was like, a broken clock is right twice a day. So maybe this is just getting lucky occasionally. But as I saw more and more things happening, Caron just kind of exposed me to more things and didn't push it. It was actually done in a really kind of cool way where I'd ask another question. Maybe she'd give me an article to read, or I'd see something that you guys are doing, watched all your shows, thought they were fantastic, learned a lot from your shows, actually. So, you know, still traumatic experience of losing your best friend, and as much as she prepared, you know, from getting the dogs and all of the things that she did, and really spent a lot of time to prepare, I think, me for what you can't imagine what it's going to be, but she did her best. And so there were a number of things that, and I mean, I probably have a dozen, but the 2 or 3 just mathematically off the charts, highlight, impossible. So I'll start with maybe the craziest one, and it was just 2 weeks ago. My computer, I can do everything at the house. I can, you know, surf, I can watch Netflix, everything, but I cannot download my emails at the house. If I leave the house, it's fine. So our good friend Trent, who's a complete computer guru, 2 hours, can't make it work. It makes no sense. Get in touch with the cable, you know, company. So I get in touch with them. They spend an hour, Can't figure it out. Makes no sense. Finally, they send a guy to the house. So he tries for a while, can't figure it out, and he says, I'm going to put a new modem in. So puts a new modem in. I'm outside with the dogs, and I come in just kind of what should be about the time he's finished. And he said, I'm all done. I'm just going to name the network. What do you want it named? And I probably should have called it like everyone does, the Shepley House or your address or Lillian Chaser's place, whatever. But no, with 2 seconds of pressure, what do I call it? I actually spelt it for him. I said, Lovecaron, Love Caron. And he looks up from the floor, and I have video of this. He looks up from the floor and said, really? And I couldn't understand why he was a bit confused. And he said, that's my name. And I, mind blown. I said, what? I said, your name's Love, last name Caron? No, my first name is Love Caron. And a different last name. And I'm like, bullshit. Literally, I said bullshit. So I said, show me your ID. So he pulls out his ID, of which I have video. And there it is. It's his name. I mean, if I just let him name it, if I call it Barrie's house, I don't know his name, he leaves.
Yeah,
whatever.
You would have never known.
Like a million things that could never all be put together got put together. If Trent can fix it, if the Rogers guy can fix it before coming, if whatever. The universe will not believe this, but this gentleman, whose name is Love Caron, I did not know that. He came here to set up my my Rogers account, and he asked me for a password, which was Love Caron, and he could not believe it when we took a look. I mean, the universe has had coincidence coming at me left and right since she passed, but to have a Rogers guy show up, and that's his name, and it's the password, is not a coincidence. So, I smiled because Caron always said in the last year, as I got more into, your world, there are no such thing as coincidences. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, tell me that she's not, hanging. So that was crazy. About a month before, she had hundreds and hundreds of beautiful pieces of clothing, of boots, of jackets, of hats, of cycling jerseys, of yoga pants, of beautiful dresses. And it just was silly for them all to just sit in a closet and not be worn. So I found an organization that would take whatever stuff that, for people just getting back to work. But I thought, how awesome if her friends who could take pieces, a hat here, a pair of running boots, whatever there, etc. So Jill and I spent 3 days, literally rented multiple racks, and the entire house is covered from basement to main floor to the upper floor of just everything laid out so you could pick the right size and whatever. And invited yourself and a dozen other women to come over to the house to look at the stuff. And so just before people are arriving, I'm kind of all by myself upstairs. I've been up there for 3 days with Jill, taking stuff out of closets. And I just talked to Caron, which I do every day, and just said to her, why I turned the video on, I have no idea. But I turned the video on and just said, I hope that I'm doing the right thing, with your clothes and that your friends are coming over and whatever. And a lamp that has been on for 3 days starts, and you'll see, flashing on and off for 45 seconds. Not like one little power outage thing. I mean like, nah. And all the other lights in the house are perfectly fine. And then it went back to normal. And for the rest of the afternoon and evening, as yourself and all the other ladies came over, totally normal. So I'm just doing a little bit of the checking of all of the clothing that we've got set up. And a little bit of electricity going off here, as I think Miss Caron is hopefully supporting all of her stuff that we have here, and here, and here. As we take a look over down to the kitchen, dining room, lots of lovely stuff that hopefully good friends like. Totally normal, and you could just feel her energy there. I could, certainly.
Oh, definitely.
And that she was pleased, and I've now seen some of those people, out for a run with one of her run jackets on, or whatever. And so I just know that she would have been pleased that was there. So those kinds of things have just kept coming. Little things almost on a daily basis. but probably one of the most important things to her, the two beautiful dogs that she, found, saved with a couple days left in their lifespan before they were going to maybe have be terminated. I know how important the dogs were to her, and they've become they're my family, right? So New Year's Eve, Lily, our girl, is ill. She's never had a problem, and she's whimpering, and she never complains. And I'm like, so I'm trying to find a vet on New Year's Eve, and I'm looking all through all the places that are closed. I'm looking to go to downtown Toronto to find a vet late at night. And I had sent a note. I didn't have a telephone number, but I sent a note to Doris, a vet who's a friend of Karen's and mine, and just said, like, do you know anyone who's open, whatever? Well, she said, I never check social media. It's New Year's Eve. I'm about to go to bed, and I got this weird vibe, feeling, intuition that I needed to go check my Facebook. And there is a note from me. And at 10 o'clock at night, she's at my house with medication.
Yes.
And by the next day already, I could see, changes that were happening. So, I talk to Karen every day. In some cases, there's little tiny things that happen. And other things much more grand, like the lights and the guy with the same name. Like the mathematical probability is I have a better chance of winning the super lotto. I mean, absolutely, And the one that was called to me a couple months ago, our good friend Trent, who, spends lots of time and trained with Karen and traveled with us all over the world to Olympics and so forth. He fell asleep on the couch one night. He's working hard, falls asleep, and he wakes up, and I think it was 2:22, like middle of the night, triple digits on the clock. He had not had a radio on, but the radio is blasting. And Sarah McLachlan, Karen's favorite singer, is singing Angel, the song that his son played to open Karen's celebration of life.
In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room, and the endlessness that you fear.
And he's like, do you think Karen's talking to me? I'm like, unless she's kicking you in the balls, I don't think there's any other way to be closer.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and many others have contacted me with, dreams and things that have occurred. And so, the non-believer goes, odd coincidence. And that's fine. But for me, it's been really a positive energy to know that she's there, that she's involved in our lives, that, she's watching, that she's not in pain. And
aren't those stories amazing? There's one story that Barrie wanted to include as well, and I wanted to kind of talk about Marianne Kennedy. We know how much of an influence she has been on Karen and I over the years as a mentor, as our teacher, as our dear friend. And she did a reading for Barrie pretty much right after Karen's passing. And the stuff that she got was pretty amazing. And it ties into our video today about the signs that Karen is sending. A rainbow is a very real signal from her. And I was in Grand Cayman last month. While I was there, the number of rainbows, not any rain in the sky, but the number of rainbows that appeared was incredible. And sometimes in multiple parts of the sky. It was so beautiful. And I've seen lots of rainbows here at the farm. Barrie has caught lots of video and pictures of rainbows, so she is sending them. Like, I have never seen so many rainbows in my life, except for the last 3 months. So thank you, Karen, for sending us rainbows. The other one is that she'll appear as a blackbird or as a crow. And she's been doing that in many different ways. One, she's been showing up as a crow, of course, and a lot of our friends, a lot of our teammates in the triathlon community have told me that They have had very close encounters with crows, either swooping down or not moving when you get closer. It's one of those situations where it's unusual bird behavior. So a lot of people will send me messages saying, hey, I just saw Caron. She showed up as a crow or a raven or, you know, some kind of blackbird. So I think that that's really cool, and I'm sure she will continue to. Even the other day, I was drawing oracle cards from one of her favorite decks, and I asked for a message from her, and sure enough, the card was a blackbird. So it made me laugh. Another way that she said she'll be showing up is with deer. A lot of people, again, are reporting having interesting encounters with deer. The same idea as all the stories you've heard. The deer don't seem to be bothered by the closeness of a human and allow for a time for videos or pictures to be taken. And one of them is with Barrie. He was setting up for a race early in the morning for our annual eggnog jog, and it was in the middle of the night pretty much, and he's setting up pylons out in the snow. At 4:44, in front of his car with the headlights on it, there was a magnificent deer standing there. Didn't flinch, kept standing enough time that Barrie was able to take the pictures. Jill, her husband Tim, and I went for a hike in the woods, and Jill and I ended up turning around a little early, but Tim kept going, and he said within a minute or so, he came across 3 deer. Now, if Jill and I hadn't turned around, we probably would have seen the deer as well. And how suiting, there are 3 deer and there were 3 of us. So Tim took some great pictures for us. And it's just, you know, when you open your heart, you open your mind, and you open your eyes to all the miracles that happen around you, you just can't help but have a smile on your face and comfort and peace in your heart that Caron is okay. She's doing well. She seems to have adjusted extremely well to the other side. And I love hearing all the different ways that she's showing up in people's lives, whether it be repeats of numbers, showing up as animals. In Doris's case, where she gets those hits of intuition to check something. A lot of people have these memories pop up on Facebook. There are just so many ways that our loved ones reach out. I'm so grateful for Caron taking the time to make us all feel a little bit better about the situation. We miss her dearly. Life is not the same without her. But I wanted to share with you all, because I know how much you loved Caron, and I wanted to let you know that she is sending plenty of messages saying that she's really well. She's doing better. She's, you know, the end wasn't easy for her. So she's not suffering anymore, and she gets to be all of our guardian angels. So for those of you who have wondered about Caron, hopefully this video brings you a little bit of comfort and peace. And I would love to know if any of you have, you know, thoughts, comments, or your own stories. I would love to read them in the comment section below. Stay tuned for a few more episodes. Like I said, I didn't plan on doing this without Caron, but I know she's here by my side. We have a few more episodes coming up that I think you will be interested in. One being about Caron's animal communication skills. She's really modest. Didn't really explain how incredible of an animal communicator she was. So we're going to showcase some of those stories, some of those case studies that she had. And I'm going to leave you with one last story because it just happened. So Jill and Barrie just left, and I'm filming the closing remarks really on our episode here. And Jill sends me a message that she was near empty in her vehicle when she left here and went to go gas up. She asked the universe, or asked Caron, you know, how did it go today with us talking about this, right? Is she comfortable with the stories being told? Is she happy? And sure enough, as Jill fills up, click, she's at full, and the number is $88.88. $88.88. Now, 888s don't really repeat themselves that often, at least not for me, especially with a clock, right? Because of course, you can't get 888. So when Jill got home, she looked up the significance of 8888. This is what it says. Angel number 8888 represents a powerful message of spiritual growth, harmony, and abundance in the context of the twin flame reunion. Perhaps this number keeps appearing when you are watching videos online. This number indicates that you and your twin flame are reconnecting to create a harmonious and prosperous life. Isn't that amazing? She asked about bringing us, Barrie mentioned the three of us coming together, not actually having been just the three of us since Caron passed. So bringing the three of us together and creating video content, and Jill is Caron's twin sister. Like, you can't make this stuff up. I really hope that everyone watching this, you feel it, like you know it. And there are just so many more stories like it. So I hope you can move forward, pay attention to the symbols, pay attention to the signs and the breadcrumbs from the universe. And instead of analyzing, trying to, justify it or explain it, as I've said before in other videos, why not, whatever person comes to mind, why not just believe that it's them trying to send you a hello? Because it feels good to know that our loved ones are around us and that they're trying to speak to us. And if you have trouble with that, just remember that one day we're going to be on the other side and we're going to be trying to communicate with our loved ones. And it's difficult because we don't have bodies, we don't have voice boxes. So it's a lot like charades. So how good would it feel to have our loved ones acknowledge our communication to them? And I think that that's all our loved ones want from us. So next time you get smacked in the chest with a wish, you see repeating numbers, you see a dime on the floor, you see the lights flickering, and someone comes to mind, acknowledge them. Say hello, thank them, because I know that it puts a smile on your face, and I know it puts a smile on theirs. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider liking it. And since we have some new videos coming out, maybe hit that subscribe button as well so that you don't miss them as they are released. So thank you again for watching, and keep your mind and eyes and heart open to the signs of the universe and our loved ones. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.
Caron raised over $800,000 for animal charities and programs. Her goal was to hit $1 million raised. We're committed over the next year to help her hit that goal. Your donations are greatly appreciated, and 100% of the proceeds go to helping animals in need.